Hey guys, welcome to Unbiased Rugby. My name's Donovan.
Gordon, how's it everyone?
This is obviously we're coming up to the last weekend of the June internationals. Have you enjoyed these June internationals so far?
Of course I have. There's been some exhilarating rugby.
Yeah, there's been some great games. Which game do you think was one of your favourites?
England, South Africa.
Yeah, same here.
I mean, it just had to be because it was so touch and go.
Yeah.
If you look at both of England's outings, they were ahead, and then suddenly the wheels fell off and they somehow lost.
Yeah, I think of all the games, I probably thought the first England South Africa game was probably my favourite.
That was the big shock, big surprise.
Yeah, that was the one where I was the most excited. I was the happiest. It just seemed like there was a lot of things happening in the country, and it just seemed very, very good for South African rugby.
Yeah, well, tomorrow's the telltale game to see whether England
can actually bounce back.
Yeah, can bounce back, but I don't know, Don. It's so difficult because both of those games I didn't expect South Africa to win. Lovely for them to win. I'm very, very proud of them, especially with a semi-junior side like we've got.
Yeah.
They were excellent.
Yeah, no, I thought it was
they played good, hard, clean rugby. And that's the thing, South Africa, we've always... Our teams tend to play tidily, no roughing and fighting and...
Unless you Bucky's Botha.
Yeah, Bucky's Botha, that's different. He's a machine, a bulldozer.
Well, I was actually watching a YouTube video the other day. I'll see if I can find it again. And it was talking about the dirtiest World 15.
Who are they?
Well, it was the dirtiest players in rugby.
15 from a specific team or
around the world. And I think there were 2 South Africans that made it. So obviously Bucky's Botha made it. Everyone knows Bucky's Botha. He was a bit of a...
Yeah, but you don't play the man, you play the game, eh?
Yeah,
playing the man is not sporting.
Yeah, but he was a bit on the edge. And then the other one was Butch Jones.
Hey, Butch Jones was a renegade. He was
I saw his tackles and he just used to grab the guys around the neck.
A Durban boy, rough and tough.
But listen, we're going to talk about this weekend's games. On my left screen, or your right or left or whatever, we've actually I've got the games that are there, so we might look to the left and the right, but we'll just do our predictions for the weekend and we'll see how close we get in our Super Brew. So the first game of the weekend, we got Fiji versus Tonga.
Anyone getting up at 5 o'clock? We're from the Western Cape, so 5 o'clock in the morning is very, very cold, and I don't think we will be up. We'll watch the replay during the course of the weekend. But safely, my money's on Fiji.
Yeah, I think so. I've got Fiji by 7. I think they won that even more convincingly the last time, but I've got Fiji by 7. The next game of the weekend, we've got Japan versus Georgia.
Close call that, I think, Don, because Georgia have been playing quite well.
Excellent, eh? And
they're tough team. It's very difficult, but I'm going to go with Georgia.
You're going to go with Georgia?
Yeah.
Okay, I've gone with Japan by 4. So we're opposite on that one. So we'll see on the weekend.
The next one we don't even have to debate. You know where my favouritism lies.
Look, we've got New Zealand, France. Let's hope there's no red cards, there's no yellow cards, there's absolutely no cards at all. That it's a just good clean game. I've got New Zealand to win by 28. I think New Zealand are just going to come back so hard. It's going to be unbelievable, and I think the French have had everything knocked out of them.
Yeah, look, I'm loath to determine the score. I know New Zealand will win. The Frenchies can actually pull the trick out of the bag so easily. One minute they're playing extremely well, next minute they've got bad luck. I don't know if that's the way.
I just think these last 2 games have been marred by some really iffy ref calls. And the second one, it was a red card. By the letter of the law, it was a red card. Angus Gardner, he followed the letter of the law and he got to the end of it and it's a red card. And now World Rugby have come out and they've thrown the ref under the bus and said no, it wasn't a red card. But it's just the worst.
Was that the one with the head over heels tackle?
Yeah.
I also gave a yellow card for that.
I also thought it was a yellow card. It's just for your boss to throw your ref underneath the bus. It's not good form.
Yeah.
Right, next game of the weekend, we've got. I think this is going to be the game of the weekend. Australia versus Ireland.
Well, Don, I don't know Ireland's history in rugby playing. I know Australia's, but I really think that Ireland are going to take Australia to pieces on Saturday. What's your
Well, I've got
feeling?
I've got Australia by 4. I think I still, even though they don't have Will Genia as their number 9, I still think that Australian backline is just absolutely phenomenal. Bill, Israel Folau, I think Pocock's going to come to the party. I just think if they're playing at home, look, I think Ireland are.
Is it a home game?
Yeah, I think I think Ireland are just phenomenal. But I don't know, I've got Australia by 4. I think it's going to be very hard for the Irish to beat Australia on the weekend, and if they do, kudos to them.
Yeah, and of course the next game we don't even have to discuss.
Yeah, no, we don't. Next one's South Africa versus England. I've got South Africa by 312. No, I'm not kidding. I've got South Africa by 12. So look, the nice thing is they're playing at sea level. There's no excuses about playing at altitude. I know there's been quite a few changes. Cipriani's playing for England, who brings in a bit of different kind of gameplay. But look, I think South Africa on the up.
It could be a surprise because it's their last game. They might put a lot of energy into it, and it's their last game whilst they're here. I'd love to see South Africa win. I hope they win. I trust they will win. Judging from the last 2 games they've played, and they just mustn't let the brakes off. They must carry on going.
Yeah, I think their last game, they had 13 penalties against them. You just can't have that many penalties in an international.
For a 1 game, 13 penalties just for one side.
Yeah,
it's
atrocious.
Extravagant amount of penalties.
Look, I know they don't have the Vunipola brothers, so they're going to be a bit short there, but. I feel it's a must-win game for England. They have to win it. I think they're going to throw everything in the kitchen sink and everything at that game. And if South Africa pull it out of the bag, then brilliant. That means look, we've got Warwick Galant playing. He's only got I think two or three caps. 2 wingers have 2 caps each. So it's very, very inexperienced back 3. But I've got a feeling Warwick Galant's going to do well. Yankees is playing at fly half, which is Yankees it's just one of those players that sometimes he just has a blinder of a game, and then other times it's just a little bit.
Yeah, his expertise are definitely kicking, but as you say, he does have blinders of days where he doesn't kick well.
No, he just doesn't have that kind of game management. And look, in fair use, there's been a lot of comments in the comment section on his poor form and things like that. But look, last year during some of those tests that we played, he really was able to command the field. He was able to do his kicking properly, tactical kicking. So I think it's a last chance for Elton.
Another thing too, he's a youngster, and if you take the environment in which he's playing with that huge crowds, as opposed to when they're playing provincial rugby or whatever rugby that they play when they're not playing Super Rugby, it's the excitement of playing in front of huge crowds, and I think it might just put him off a wee bit when he's kicking. You got these opposing side rushing towards him when he's kicking like a penalty or something, and you got the big huge crowd there. It might be a little bit off-putting.
I just think it's his last chance. I think if
he's still a youngster though.
He is, but what I'm saying is we've got Damien Willemse from the Stormers, brilliant kid. We've got Curran Bosch, even
Curran Bosch fullback.
We've got Robert Dupree.
Yeah.
I just think there's other options out there. If he doesn't perform this weekend, I think Russ is gonna completely go in a completely different direction.
But my boy I'm watching is Curran Bosch.
Yeah, boys like even from the under 20s.
I like him. He's a big lad and he's a youngster and he's fit and he's strong.
No, he's not.
And he's not afraid.
He's not big. He's unafraid.
Tall. He's tall.
Unafraid.
And he's a tall boy.
He's like Damon McKenzie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Damon McKenzie's a short horse.
Yeah, same. They're both small.
Does he?
Yeah,
does he not big against the other players?
I think it's because it's a super wide angle close-up lens.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, but the other thing is that we've got Esther Hazen and Jesse Krill starting in the centres.
Jesse Krill, a brilliant player.
I love Jesse Krill. But Esther Hazen's big, powerful centre, and I just think the English midfield is they're gonna have to man up, because those 2 centres know how to play direct rugby. So let's see. I'm looking forward to a really, really good test, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, next game of the weekend we've got Canada versus the USA.
Done.
This is a tough one.
I would Well, you know, the USA do surprise.
Well, they beat Scotland last week.
Yeah. So I would be inclined to... I haven't watched USA play, but I would believe just by their track performance, I would...
Well, I think, their last coach was John Mitchell, and he got them qualified into the World Cup. I don't know who their coach is now.
John Mitchell's an Oz, eh?
No,
New Zealander.
Yeah, the Bulls coach.
That's a guy, he's coaching now.
So I think they're on the up, and there's a lot of talk that NRL, I think it is, National Rugby League or whatever in the US, that if they can get that off the ground and going, there's so much more money in the US than anywhere else.
And look at the crowds that they've got 265 million people to select a team of 15 players.
Yeah,
they've got everything on their side.
I must admit, if the American market have the drive, and they get a bit of ground swelling and they get some support, there's so much money there for those players.
It's catching on very fast, like soccer.
Yeah.
Soccer was a game that kiddies played at school. And now, I mean, they're playing international soccer. They're actually doing fairly well in soccer. We'll see at the World Cup now.
Yeah. But let's if I've put USA by 3. I think they're on the up. And we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. And of course, the next one, I'd favour Scotland.
Yeah, look, I've gone for Argentina because I always give Southern Hemisphere sides the pick of my picks.
Yeah.
But look, I think it's their coach's last game for Argentina. I think he's resigned from bad showing.
Gosh,
but I think
poor for points.
Yeah, I think he's decided that it's time. Writing's on the wall.
Yeah,
time.
shame, eh?
Which I think's kind of it's I don't know how many months is it, like a year to the next World Cup. That doesn't give them doesn't give the next coach, gives them about 10 games to try to turn that team around.
Did they have the World Cup every year or
every 4 years? So 2019 is the next World Cup. So this next year. Yeah. So they've got literally 12, 14 tests for the new coach to look. Rusty only had another 4 or 5, but I think it's too close.
He's a respected coach, Rusty. Eh?
I rate him. But yeah, I've got Argentina by 6.
Wait.
So of those games, Gordon, which game do you think are you looking forward to the most?
Hey, of course, South Africa and England. Yeah. What a question.
And
then the next one is New Zealand, France.
Yeah, I think those 3 games: New Zealand, France, Australia, Ireland, South Africa, England. I think they're going to be. The Australia Ireland one, the nicest thing about that, it decides the series. Whereas with the New Zealand one and South African one, the series has already been won by New Zealand and South Africa respectively.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to an interesting weekend of rugby. I just hope there's no red cards and there's no yellow cards and there's no
clean play. And the English that captain of theirs is just not a sport. He must be a sport.
Not once. Okay, and this is what pissed me off the most. Normally those captains come at the end of the thing and they say, well, we played like this, we played like that. But congratulations to the other team for beating us on the day. He didn't say that once.
Gosh,
he just spoke about himself and how this and that and this.
Self-opinionated.
Yeah, and never once congratulated the South Africans for saying, great, you guys played really well. Yes, let's come to next week. And it just shows a bit of bad sportsmanship.
We'll wipe that spot off their faces on Saturday.
Let's hope.
Tomorrow, what time is the game gone? 5.
Yeah, it's 5 in the afternoon. 5. Yeah, build-up starts at about 4, and then the other games are during the morning. But listen, guys, those are our predictions for the weekend. What do you think of them? Do you think we're right or we're wrong? But what games are you guys looking forward to the most this weekend?
Watch England and South Africa.
I think so too. But listen, guys, have a great weekend, and we'll chat to you on the weekend after the game and to see how well we did. Have a great weekend. Cheers. Bye.